Hello, Godot users. This is Wizard of Westmarch with another tutorial about the Godot and its tooling. Shout out to Mishu Bellringer for asking for this one in the Pirate Software Discord when I was asking for topics. Today we'll be talking about signals, which is a structural tool for organizing the logic in your game. The simplest example of this is buttons, which you see we have 4 buttons and a label on the screen. When the Godot team was building the UI tools, what they were able to do, thanks to making signals part of the system, is they built a pressed signal in this case, and then they didn't have to care what anyone did with it. They just made it available. So now when we as game developers put buttons in our UI, we can attach any code we want to react to the pressed signal, and it'll just work. So let's see that in action. So we click the button and it changed its own text. Okay. So we will open this and you will notice there's this onPressed function that returns nothing, and it's just set self.text to pressed button 1. So how does that know to be invoked when the button is pressed? Okay, so you'll see over here there's in the inspector there's 2 other tabs. We'll go to node, and this is the list of all of the signals available in hierarchy. So you've got base button, and then control, and then canvas item and node and object. So all of those have their own signals. And if you had your own signals defined, which we'll look at in a little bit, you would see them up at the top. So you will notice here, there is the green icon. It says onPressed. And here's a handy thing for you. If you click on this icon next to the line number, there we go, you see first button, pressed, first button. So it's telling you the source, the signal, and the target. In this case, the source and the target are the same. Does not have to always be true, but that's the simplest example, so that's why we're starting here. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to temporarily rename this disconnect. I don't know why, but it doesn't always disconnect right away. So when you double click on a signal, it will bring up this UI showing your scene tree, asking where you want to connect it. Any node with a script attached will not be dark grayed out to indicate it is valid. And you will also see in blue the node that has it, and it says connecting from. In this case, we want it to be on the same. But for a quick example, if you pick another one, you'll notice when I choose root scene, it defaults to on first button pressed. And you can change the name, but that's how it works. And then it's only on pressed here because it already knows it's first button because it's itself. So when you click that, it generates this function and it just puts a pass in. And if you have parameters for a particular signal, it will add those automatically. So that is the simplest button. And okay, let's look at the second button. This one's a little more complicated, but it's going to show a lot more stuff. So I click on second button and you see it's green now. It says second button in the label, and it says updated second button in the text of the button itself. Okay, so let's look at the script. So this time we see press.connect and test function. So we're passing a function in to tell it what to connect to, which is defined down here, and it's updating the text. One important note, and I've been burned by this when I'm not paying attention, if you autocomplete, it's going to add the parentheses automatically, which you do not want because you're wanting to actually pass the function, not the results of running it. So make sure you put that in correctly. But you will also notice that didn't do everything. It updated the text of the label of not the label of the button. It updated the button, but it did not update everything else. So we come over to the node, and you will notice here this is wired up in an entirely different node. So it just works. And it's doing the color, but it's only doing the color. How is that? So up here, you'll notice I have defined access to the second button in the top. And then here we have second button .pressed .connect, because you can .connect to a signal multiple times as long as you're not redoing it to the exact same function on the exact same instance. So like if I tried to call this twice in a row, it would error. So do not do that. But important note, this is not required for the UI wire up like I did here. So you do not have to reference a signal bearer if it is being wired up via the UI, only if you are doing .connect. But this shows you can wire up to a signal from multiple places and have as many as you want receiving the signal at once. Do not rely on order if you do this, because I don't know if there's any way to guarantee, like if you connect to back, does it guarantee it will be the first one you connect in the second? I'm not sure, and that could change in the future. Don't rely on it. Okay, so there's the second button. Let's go on to the third button, which is called fourth because I used to have 4 buttons. Deletes itself. Well, that's interesting. So we come down, we load up the script, and you will notice I'm just calling QFree in the connect. Any function that takes the right set of parameters works as the result of a signal. It does not require any kind of special function. And you can use functions that are used for signals for anything else. Like they're just functions. As long as it takes the right parameters, you're good. So this allows more code reuse. Okay, let us look at the 5th and final button. So we got this. So I click it, so it updates the text to updated from 2 places at once, okay? And I change the color to green. So let us take a look at, and so you'll notice it does not have its own script, but it is wired up to on 5th button pressed. And so here you'll notice it's emitting a signal. So this dot emit is how you fire off a signal to tell anyone that has subscribed to it via Connect to react. So that is the emit. But let's take a quick look up at the top. So you'll notice I have defined 2 signals. And important note, if you were defining a signal, you do it with lowercase. If you were type hinting a signal like I am here with this input signal, it is uppercase. If you try to uppercase this one, it will error. And you will also see signal accepting signal takes 2 input parameters because in the end it's a function. And this one takes none. And then down here in ready, so emitted signal, we're connecting it to take emitted signal. And then signal accepting signal, we're connecting to take signal. And you will notice signal accepting signal dot emit, so that's going to evoke take signal, and we're passing in the emitted signal because it takes the signal and the number 2. So then what happens is it calls take signal, which then updates the label text to updated from, and then strings the number count, and then it emits the second signal, which was wired up to takes emitted signal. So that further updates the text and updates the color. This is important because unlike the warning I gave you before, signals that are evoked in a chain where you're emitting one then emitting another are reliable on order because it will not emit the signal until it hits the line signal.emit. This means that if you want to create a chain of events and maybe put timers in between or however you want to handle it, you absolutely can, and that, as far as I know, is completely reliable because it's standard code order execution. So that is the fundamentals of how signals work, plus a little bit of more advanced trickery. Hopefully it didn't get too confusing. So yeah, once again, shout out to Mishu Bellringer in Pirate Software's Discord for asking for more information about signals. Hopefully this will make it easier for you to use them in your own code when you have structural issues that this can fix. And if you have any questions about signals, feel free to post a comment asking. And if you would like another tutorial in a similar vein talking about the guts of Godot and how to use various pieces of it, also feel free to post a comment. And if I use it in a video, I will credit you. So that is all for today. I hope you have a great day and good luck on your games.